My sister insulted me as a jerk, and then mentioned our parents were handing her the house outright, leaving me nothing. Hey everyone. My name's Bruce. I'm 28 and I'm an environmental compliance inspector. I live in Chicago now and I've always tried to keep my family at arm's length. See, growing up, my parents played favorites and my younger sister, Natalie, was always the chosen one. I built my own life, kept my distance, and generally stayed out of their mess. But this past Thanksgiving, they decided to drag me right back into it. Before I get into that explosive dinner, let me rewind a bit. I know what you're thinking. Environmental compliance inspector? Doesn't sound glamorous, right? But I'm the guy who can shut down a $20 million project with one signature. So yeah, I hold a bit of power. 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, my mom called me at work. I was knee-deep in soil samples from a highway expansion, dirt under my nails, headache from my dust mask. "Honey," she started, and instantly my stomach dropped. That honey voice always meant she wanted something, or worse, wanted me to stay quiet. "What's up, Mom?" I asked, already bracing myself. "I just want to make sure you're still coming for Thanksgiving," she purred, "and that you're going to be nice." I paused, slowly setting down a sample bag. "Nice about what?" "Your sister has some wonderful news to share. We're all very excited. I just don't want you to make it about you or start anything." There it was. I was the problem before I even walked in the door. I hadn't even thought about starting anything. "Good," she continued, "because this is a big moment for Natalie, for the whole family. We want it to be perfect." Natalie. My sister, 29, still living at home in Naperville. She worked as a receptionist at a dental clinic, probably making around 38 grand a year. Drove the car Dad bought her. Used the credit card Mom paid off. Had never paid a day of rent in her life. "I'll be there," I told her. "And you'll be happy for her?" she pressed. "Sure, Mom." I could hear her disbelief in the silence that followed, but she eventually let it go. What choice did she have? I hung up, staring at my phone. 28 years of the same pattern. Natalie got celebrated for just showing up. I got interrogated for existing. I still remember when I was 23, drowning in student loans. I asked Dad for 5 grand. He said no. Said I needed to learn the value of hard work. 2 years later, Natalie wanted to go to Europe. 8 grand for 3 weeks. Dad paid for the whole thing. If I didn't joke about it, I'd probably just shake with anger. My boss, Hayes, a grizzled 56-year-old who'd seen it all, poked his head into my office. "You look like you just got bad news." "Family stuff," I mumbled. He just nodded, didn't pry. That's why I liked him. "You heading home for the holiday?" he asked. "Yeah." "Need to talk about it?" "Nah, I'm good." He studied me for a second. "You're one of the most level-headed guys I've ever worked with. Whatever it is, you'll handle it right." His words meant more to me than he knew. That night, back in my Lakeview apartment, I wasn't going through work files. I was going through the other ones. The ones I'd been building since September. It all started with a phone call. September 19th, 10:15 in the morning. I was on site near Joliet, about to crawl under a house to check foundation drains. "Son, I need to talk to you about something important." Dad's voice. My stomach dropped. "Someone died? Someone's sick? We need some help. Financial help." "It's Mom. She had surgery back in July. Insurance didn't cover everything. We're looking at about $22,000 in medical bills." I didn't hesitate. "I can help. How much do you need?" "All of it? $22,000. Can you wire it this week?" Something felt off. Mom had surgery in July. It was September. Why wait 2 months to ask? But they were my parents. I pushed it down. "Let me call the hospital," I told him. "I'll set up a payment plan directly with them." Silence. A long, heavy silence. "We'd prefer the cash. We'll handle the hospital." That's when I knew. "Dad, if it's medical bills, I pay the hospital, not you." His voice changed. Got defensive. "We don't need you questioning us. We need help." "Then let me help properly." "What hospital?" He just hung up. I sat in my truck for 20 minutes just staring. Then I made some calls. 3 major hospitals in the area. Asked if there were any outstanding balances under my parents' names matching his claims. Nothing. No $22,000 bills, no collections, no payments pending. So I dug deeper. Pulled property records on their house. Cost me $65. What I found made my blood run cold. A second mortgage, $93,000. 4 months delinquent. A first mortgage, $56,000 remaining, 2 months delinquent. I sat in my truck, staring at the printout. My throat was tight, hands shaking. My dad lied about Mom's surgery. Lied to get money. Lied because he knew if I found out the truth I'd pull the records. So I pulled everything I could legally get my hands on. Loan documents from the county recorder. Marina records. Dad had bought a 38-foot cabin cruiser. $79,000. A boat. He put the house at risk for a boat. 2 weeks later, Natalie posted online, big announcement at Thanksgiving, with house emojis. They were going to trap her. That's when I started making copies. Everything. I've been carrying that folder with me ever since. Thanksgiving morning. I was on the road by 8. Traffic was a mess. The family group chat was lit up. Natalie, can't wait for everyone to get here. Mom, today is going to be so special. Mom, Bruce, what time will you be here? I said around 2. Her reply, perfect. Natalie's announcement is at 2:30. A scheduled, choreographed performance. I pulled into their driveway at 1:58 p.m. Aunt Diane's Mercedes, Uncle Rick's pickup, my cousin Holly's Honda. Connor's parents' SUV. At least 15 cars. The folder was on my passenger seat. I grabbed it, locked the truck, and walked up the steps. Natalie opened the door before I could knock. She was in a white sweater dress, hair curled, makeup perfect, like she was going to a cocktail party, not a family dinner. You made it, she said without warmth. We stopped hugging years ago. The house was packed. People everywhere. Football on the TV. Kids running around. That green bean casserole everyone pretended to like. Dad was in the living room with Natalie's boyfriend, Connor. Connor sold insurance, made about $55,000 a year, drove a leased BMW he couldn't afford, wore cologne that smelled like a high school locker room. Bruce? Dad stood up, came over, did the hug backslap thing. Good to see you, son. His eyes were searching mine, trying to figure out if I was going to be a problem. I just smiled, gave him nothing. Grandma was in the corner chair, 84 years old, sharper than anyone in that room. She watched me walk in, gave me a small nod. She knew something was coming. I could see it. I found a spot at the dining room table, placed the folder on the floor beside my chair, and waited. People slowly filed in, filling seats, making small talk. Someone asked about the game. Someone else complained about gas prices. Aunt Diane was talking about her book club drama. Uncle Rick was explaining his new truck's towing capacity to anyone who'd listen. Natalie sat at the head of the table, the position of honor. Mom to her right, Dad to her left. Connor next to Dad, looking nervous. There was someone else I didn't recognize, an older woman, professional-looking, briefcase next to her chair. Who's that? I whispered to Holly. No idea. She showed up right before you. I was across from Natalie, direct line of sight. She caught my eye, smiled. Not a kind smile. A winner's smile. Dad stood up, tapped his fork against his wine glass. Chair squeaked. Before we eat, I want to say a few words about family, about gratitude, about the blessings we've been given this year. Standard speech, same one every year. We're especially grateful to have everyone here today. And we have some very exciting news to share. He looked at Natalie. She stood up. Connor stood next to her, but she was the star. The room was watching. Some people already had their phones out, recording, waiting for the big moment. Connor's mom was smiling too hard, trying to look supportive on camera. Natalie started, her voice shaking a little, excitement or nerves, who could tell. Mom and Dad are giving us the house. We'll take over the existing loans, which Dad says are in great shape, and start building equity. No more renting. The room exploded. Clapping, cheering. Someone whistled. Aunt Diane was crying. Uncle Rick was shouting, congratulations. My cousins were all smiling and raising glasses. We'll handle everything. Natalie continued, louder now over the noise. The payments, the upkeep, just us building something real. More cheering, more phones coming out. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Dad stood up, held up his hand. And because the lender requires signatures to finalize the transfer and new loan terms, we've brought in a mobile closing agent. We're going to handle the paperwork right here, right now. The woman at the end of the table stood up, opened her briefcase, and pulled out a stack of papers. This is Helen, Dad said. She does after-hours mobile signings. She's here to oversee the signing and notarize the documents. Natalie, sweetheart, if you come down here, we can get started. Natalie was glowing. She stood up, started walking toward Helen. Connor was filming on his phone, muttering, "This is amazing. This is really happening." My chest tightened. My jaw wouldn't stop twitching. This was it. They were actually going to do it. Right here. Right now. Then Natalie looked directly at me. The room was still noisy, but she was laser-focused. Unlike some people who leave and only come home twice a year, I've always been here. I help with the yard. I run errands. I show up. And I think actions should have rewards. Someone laughed, then immediately regretted it. People were looking at me now, waiting for my reaction. My cousin Holly leaned toward her boyfriend, whispered something. He looked at me, grinned. Uncle Rick raised his glass. To the daughter who stayed. To Natalie. The room echoed, to Natalie. Aunt Diane set down her wine glass, looking at me with pity. You're not upset? I mean, this is basically the whole inheritance going to your sister. Should I be? I asked. Well, she glanced at Natalie, I just think some people might feel hurt. He's fine. Natalie snapped, her voice sharp. He doesn't need anything from us. He's got his big Chicago life. My cousin Jake spoke up from the corner. Dude, that's cold. You drove out almost an hour to watch your sister get everything. Jake, don't start, someone warned. What? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Guy moves away, barely visits, and now he's supposed to smile while she gets the house. I took a sip of water, put the glass down carefully, said nothing. Uncle Rick leaned back. Chicago made you cold, Bruce. You used to be part of this family. I am part of this family, I said, my voice flat. Are you? Natalie cut in. Because you act like you're better than all of us. Like this life isn't good enough for you. Someone's younger cousin, maybe 16, leaned across the table with his phone, shoved it close to my face. Get his reaction. This is gold. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Looked straight into the camera. Make sure you get my good side, I said, a slight, humorless smile touching my lips. It's the only one that shows up here. Uncle Rick laughed. Sure. Mean. Look at him. Ice cold. Nothing bothers the big city guy. A younger cousin piped up. Can we just eat? This is awkward. It's not awkward, Natalie insisted. Bruce is just being Bruce, Mom said quickly, a saccharine tone. Bruce understands. He's always been the strong one. Aunt Diane was looking at me strangely now. But still, David, this seems like a lot to give to one child. Natalie earned it, Dad said firmly. She stayed. Bruce made his choices. Say congratulations. Natalie demanded. Like you mean it? Don't just sit there judging us. The phone kept recording, its little red dot glowing. Smile, Bruce, Mom added, her sweet voice laced with steel. Natalie was still standing, papers in the closing agent's hand, pen ready. I set down my glass. That's really generous, I said. Congratulations. Natalie blinked. Smile like you mean it. I am smiling, I countered. This is just my watching a train hit a wall face. Aunt Diane touched my arm. You're really okay with this? Should I be upset? I asked. I mean, it's your family home too. He left it, Natalie snapped. You don't get to leave and complain when someone else gets what you abandoned. Jake muttered, that's harsh. It's true. Natalie pressed on. He's too good for Naperville, too good for family dinners, too good for Sunday visits. Actions have consequences. I stayed. I get the reward. The closing agent cleared her throat. Just to be clear, these signature lines make you the new borrowers on the loans. If we're doing this, we should get started. Dad nodded, gestured to Natalie. Natalie took a step toward the agent. I looked at Dad. He was pale, knuckles white, gripping his chair. Hey, Dad, I said, my voice calm. We can do this privately. Walk with me. He froze. No. Natalie said immediately. We're doing this here in front of everyone. You don't get to pull him aside and poison it. Mom's face went tight. Bruce, please don't ruin this. I'm offering to not ruin it privately, I said. There's nothing to discuss. Dad's voice shook. Natalie was walking back toward the closing agent. Just ignore him. He's trying to make this about him like always. Last chance, I said quietly. For what? Natalie snapped. What could you possibly have to say? I reached down, picked up the folder. Okay then. We do it here. Dad's face drained of every drop of color. Mom's hand started shaking so hard she had to put down her wine glass. Bruce, Dad said, his voice strangled. Not now. Not now. I opened the folder. When would be better? Signs what? Connor asked, confused. I pulled out the first document. A foreclosure notice. Big red letters. Case number at the top. I placed it in the middle of the table, right on the turkey platter. The notice of default, I said. Filed October 27th. 4 months of missed payments on the second mortgage. 2 months on the first. Natalie was staring at the document. What is that? I pulled out another page. The foreclosure filing itself. Timeline. Amounts. To stop foreclosure, the bank wants a reinstatement payment of $27,000 by mid-December. After that, the combined monthly payment is about $2,800. And that's before utilities, property tax, insurance, and repairs. That's not, Mom started. Call the bank, I interrupted. Ask what's required to reinstate the loan on this address. Or look up the foreclosure filing. Case number is right there at the top. Public record. Nobody moved. The closing agent was already packing her briefcase. She stood up. I can't proceed while the parties are disputing the terms and there's visible coercion. If you want to continue, reschedule through the lender. She walked out fast. I looked around the table at all the stunned faces. The phone was still recording, its little red dot glowing. So here's the question, I said, my voice calm but firm. Do you want the truth or the performance? Someone's phone was still recording. I can walk out, let you sign, let you find out when the reinstatement deadline hits and you can't come up with $27,000. Or I tell you now. Natalie was moving. Coming around toward me. You're lying because you can't stand that I'm happy. She was standing over me, pointing, her voice loud. She slammed her hand on the table. Silverware jumped, knocked over a wine glass. Red wine spread across the white tablecloth, bleeding into the corner of the paperwork. I snatched the folder back. Sit down, I said, flat, quiet. The force in my voice made her stop. She stayed standing but didn't come closer. I pulled out more papers. Recorded mortgage documents, tax lien notices, my own text messages with Dad. You're not giving her a house free and clear, I said, my voice cutting through the stunned silence. You're giving her debt. Mortgage and escrow alone? About $34,000 a year. Not counting what breaks. Not counting what the county has already filed liens for. Aunt Diane grabbed one of the papers, her eyes wide. David, this is real. Where did you get these? Dad's voice was barely a whisper. County Recorder's Office, I replied. Public records. $65. Connor was backing away, face red. Wait, Natalie. You said the loans were current and manageable. You didn't say anything about default or reinstatement. They are current. Natalie stammered, looking at Dad. Right? You said the loans were in great shape. You said we just needed to sign the transfer. Dad couldn't speak. Uncle Rick picked up the foreclosure notice, his face hard. This says they're months behind. Final notice. That can't be right, Mom whispered. It's dated October 27th. Natalie makes $38,000, I continued. Connor makes $55,000. Combined take home maybe $70,000. You'd spend half your income just keeping the house. Nothing left for a wedding, savings, emergencies. Holly's mouth was open. They were going to trick her, she gasped. They were going to trap her, I corrected. Connor's face was beet red. You told me the house was in good standing. You said we'd be building equity, not digging out of a foreclosure. We thought we could catch up, Dad said weakly. Based on what? I asked sharp. What changed? What suddenly made you think you could handle debt you've been defaulting on for months? Silence. Connor was grabbing his coat. I'm out. I'm done with this. Connor, wait. Natalie chased him toward the door, her heels clicking. Baby, please. We can figure this out. We can. The front door slammed. His parents followed him out, raised voices in the driveway. Natalie came back 30 seconds later, mascara running, lipstick smeared. You did this. You ruined everything. I didn't ruin anything, I said. I read it out loud. They needed help. You should have helped them, she screamed. I tried, I said. They refused. Connor's parents came back in, his mom's face hard. He won't talk to us. Says he needs space. She turned to Mom and Dad. You were going to do this to our son? We thought they'd figure it out, Mom said weakly. Figure out foreclosure? Marital debt. Grandma spoke for the first time, her voice cutting through the chaos. What do you mean they refused? Everyone stopped, looked at me. I pulled out my phone, opened the call log. September 19th. Dad called me, said Mom had surgery, $22,000 in medical bills. Asked me to wire the money. I showed the screen to people nearby. Date, time, duration of call. I said yes immediately. Said I'd call the hospital and set up a payment plan. He said no. Wanted cash. That's when I knew something was wrong. I looked at Mom. So I called the hospitals. Asked if there were any outstanding balances under my parents' names matching what Dad claimed. Nobody had bills like that. Nothing recent that fit. Mom's face crumpled. That's when I pulled the property records. Found the mortgages. Found the missed payments. Found the foreclosure timeline. You should have given him the money anyway. Natalie shrieked. To spend on what? I shot back. More boat maintenance? Uncle Rick's head snapped up. Boat? I pulled out another document. Boat registration from the marina. 38-foot cabin cruiser. March 2021. $79,000. The room went nuclear. Uncle Rick standing. Aunt Diane yelling. Holly shaking her head. You bought a boat? Uncle Rick's voice could strip paint. We thought we'd afford it, Dad whispered. Grandma stood. Her chair scraped. Everyone went quiet. How long have you been hiding this? 2 years, Dad finally said. And instead of asking for help, you decided to lie to your children? We were desperate. Mom protested. Desperate enough to lie in loan documents? Holly said aghast. That's fraud if they misrepresented the transfer to the lender. You tried to do this to Bruce first, didn't you? Aunt Diane asked, looking at me. I nodded. May 7th. Asked me to co-sign. Called it a refinance. Just a formality. Did you sign? Uncle Rick demanded. Almost. Told them I wanted my lawyer to review it first. I pulled out another document. Email from my lawyer. Subject, do not sign. She said if I signed, I'd be legally responsible for $149,000. That's when I started digging. Natalie turned on me, pointed. This is all your fault. I'm not ruining anything. I'm reading it out loud. She hissed, venomous. You were never the important one. You were never good enough, and you can't stand that I finally won. The room went silent. That was the line. The one you don't come back from. My hands balled into fists under the table. Hold it. Just hold it. Holly's mouth dropped. Aunt Diane looked horrified. I just looked at Natalie. Didn't react. Noted, I said quietly. The argument started again, louder. Phones out, taking pictures. I stood up. Natalie looked at me, face a mess. How long have you known? Since September. Why didn't you tell me? I tried 3 times. You were always with them. They made sure I couldn't get you alone. You could have tried harder. I'm trying now. She laughed, a broken, sharp sound. By humiliating me? By stopping you from signing away your life. You're welcome. I grabbed my coat. Grandma stood up, her chair scraping across the floor. Everyone went quiet again. David, she said, her voice like steel. Give me the boat keys. Dad blinked. What? The boat keys. Right now. You're not paying slip fees for another month while my grandchildren nearly get trapped in debt. Mom, keys? No. Or I call the marina myself and have it impounded. Dad fumbled in his pocket, pulled out a keychain and handed it to her. She pocketed it, then pulled out her phone, started dialing. Who are you calling? Mom asked, voice small. My lawyer. We're changing my estate plan tonight. Everything gets split equally between Bruce and Natalie. You get nothing until you've proven you can be trusted. She put the phone to her ear, walked into the other room. Uncle Rick spoke up. That boat's getting listed tomorrow. I know a guy who does marine sales. We'll get whatever we can for it. You can't. Dad started. Watch me. I walked toward the door. Aunt Diane stopped me, put a hand on my arm. Most of us saw it. How they treated you different than Natalie. We didn't say anything. I'm sorry for that. I nodded. Didn't know what else to do with that information. You did the right thing, she said quietly. Doesn't feel like it, I replied. It never does. I walked out. Didn't look back. My phone buzzed before I reached my truck. Text from Holly. Aunt Diane called the cops. Thinks there might be elder abuse or fraud. This is going to get bigger. I sat there for 10 minutes just breathing, watching the house through the windshield. Then I started the engine and drove back to Chicago. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, I got a call from Detective Campbell with DuPage County. We met at a coffee shop. She was early 40s, professional, took notes in an actual notebook. Thank you for meeting. No problem. You're not in trouble. We're looking into your parents. There may be issues around loan misrepresentation. I walked her through everything. The September call, the timeline, the documents. She took notes, flipped through pages, eyebrows rising. Your parents claim you handled their finances, that you advised them on the property transfer. I pulled out my phone, showed her texts. Here's where he asked for money. I offered to pay the hospital. He refused. That's it. I never touched their accounts. She photographed the screen. So, they're shifting liability apparently. Do you have evidence you weren't involved? 3 years of zero contact with their bank. No joint accounts, no power of attorney. Plus, my lawyer's documentation from when they tried to get me to co-sign in May. She flipped back through her notes. Your sister mentioned they pushed hard for a spring wedding. March specifically. They set the date before Connor proposed. Mom picked the venue. March would have been 4 months after the property transfer, right when payments came due. If your sister and fiancé were married and living there, they'd expect his income to cover it without telling him upfront what he was actually getting into. That's the fraud angle we're looking at. Misrepresentation to both the borrowers and potentially the lender if they falsified occupancy or intent. What do you need from me? Truthful testimony if it goes to court, which it probably won't. Most of these settle. I'll tell the truth. That's all I've been doing. She closed her notebook. You saved your sister from years of financial disaster. Most people don't have someone willing to blow up Thanksgiving to protect them. I just read the paperwork, I said. She smiled at that. I'll be in touch. Dad showed up at my office 3 days later. Ace called me in. Your father says there's a family emergency. Dad was there looking small. We need to talk. Take the day if you need to, Hayes offered, reading the room. I'm good, I said. This will be quick. We walked outside. Cold wind. You need to fix this, Dad said. Detective taking documents. They're saying fraud. That's not my problem. We're family. You don't do this to family. You tried to trap your daughter in debt she couldn't handle. What do you call that? We were desperate. Then you should have asked for help. Honestly. He grabbed my arm. You could make this go away. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. I looked at his hand on my arm, then back at his face. Let go. He did. I'm not lying for you. Whatever happens now is what you earn. She's falling apart. Your sister's not eating, not sleeping, medication? Because she almost signed away her life? Or because Connor left? Both. Then she should thank me. Bruce, please stop contacting my workplace. Stop showing up here. Text if you need something. I'll decide if I respond. I walked back inside. Hayes was waiting. You okay? Yeah. Family stuff. He nodded. You handled that well. By mid-December, the foreclosure moved forward. Natalie texted. I met with a therapist. She says I was conditioned to accept manipulation. That I confused favoritism with love. Better to figure it out now than never. Can we talk when you're ready? Christmas. I didn't go home. Holly sent a photo from Grandma's. Small dinner. Caption, new tradition. You're invited next year. Grandma called that night. Natalie's staying with me. Therapy's helping. Your parents filed bankruptcy. Tell her I'm here when she's ready, I said. January. Dad sent angry texts. I sent one back. Stop contacting my workplace. Further contact will be documented as harassment. Then I blocked his number. Hayes told me I was up for promotion in March. Life moved forward. February 14th. Natalie texted. Can we meet? Coffee. We met in Naperville. She was there first. Looked better, healthier. Hey, she said. Hey, I replied. Awkward silence. I'm sorry for Thanksgiving. For what I said, for believing them over you. You didn't know, I said. I should have questioned it. I wanted the fantasy too bad. How are you now? Better. Living with Grandma. Figuring out who I am outside of being Dad's favorite. She laughed. Turns out being the favorite means being the most useful. I started seeing someone, Liam. He's a paramedic. I told him everything. He didn't run. That's good. I miss having a brother. I'm still your brother. She started crying. I don't deserve that. Probably not, I said, but you're getting it anyway. We talked for an hour about the favoritism, the patterns, me being expected to handle things while she got protected. They've been paying my car payment for a year. Didn't know that specifically, I said, but it tracks. I thought I earned it. Turns out I was just easier to control. They couldn't control me. That's why they came after you. Do you hate them? She asked. No. But I don't trust them. And I don't owe them my destruction. Grandma's changing her will. Splitting everything equally between us. Dad gets nothing until he proves he can be trusted. Good, I said. We left the coffee shop, stood in the parking lot. Cold February wind. Can I hug you? She asked. Yeah. She hugged me tight. Thank you for saving me even though I hated you for it. You're welcome. Can we do this again? Yeah. Call me whenever. March brought the promotion. Ace called me in. Senior inspector, 15% raise. You earned it. Thanks. You've changed this year. More focused. Whatever you've been working through, it shows. Spring came. I was working on a project in Oak Park when Mom called. Bruce. Her voice was small. Your father and I have been in counseling. We want to apologize. Really apologize. Okay. Can we see you face to face? Why? Because we owe you that. Because we were wrong. I thought about it. I'll think about it. Please. Your father is different now. I'll think about it. I hung up. That night I called Grandma. Mom wants to meet. Says they've been in counseling. They have. I've been paying for it. Condition of helping them. Do you think they've changed? Long pause. I think they're scared. Not the same as changed. Should I meet with them? Your decision. But if you do, make them earn it. Thanks, Grandma. I didn't meet with them. Didn't respond to Mom's texts. Held the boundary. May 18th, 6 months after Thanksgiving. Text from Natalie, family dinner at Grandma's this weekend. She wants everyone there, including you. Including them. Says it's time. I'm not interested, I replied. Natalie, I know, but Grandma asked. And she's 84. For her? I'll think about it. 2 days later, I'll come, but I'm leaving if it goes sideways. Natalie, fair. Saturday afternoon. Grandma's house. I was the last to arrive. I parked, sat there, asked myself if this was worth it. Then I got out. Grandma opened the door. You came. You asked. Thank you. She hugged me. Keep an open mind, but don't take any garbage. I walked in. The living room was set up like a mediation. Grandma's chair at the head. Natalie was sitting with Liam. Holly with her boyfriend. Uncle Rick and Aunt Diane on the other couch. And Mom and Dad on the love seat, looking smaller, older. Dad had lost weight. They looked up when I walked in. Dad started to stand. Sit down, Grandma said. Not loud, just firm. He sat. I took the chair farthest from them, next to Natalie. Grandma sat. We're here because this family is broken. Broken things either get fixed or thrown away. I'm too old to throw away my family, so we're fixing it. Nobody spoke. David, Michelle, you have things to say. Say them. Dad cleared his throat, voice shaky. Bruce, we owe you an apology. A real one. I waited. We tried to use you when you wouldn't let us. We tried to use your sister. We put our problems onto our children. That was wrong. Mom was crying. We were drowning. The debt, the house, the boat. Instead of asking for help, we tried to manipulate you both, Dad continued. We've been in counseling for 5 months, Dad said, working through why? The pressure, the shame, the fear of admitting failure. We filed bankruptcy. Chapter 7. Everything's gone. We're starting over with nothing. And that's what we deserved, Mom added. You didn't do this to us. We did it to ourselves. Silence. Grandma looked at me. Do you have anything to say? I took a breath. You didn't just try to use me. You tried to destroy me. And when I wouldn't let you, you moved to Natalie. You would have let her drown to avoid consequences. Dad was crying now. You called my job, showed up at my workplace, tried to frame me as unstable, made me the villain for telling the truth. I know, Dad whispered. So no. I don't accept your apology. Not yet. Mom's face crumpled. What do we have to do? Prove it through actions. Make amends. Build something real. How long? However long it takes. I don't owe you a timeline. Natalie spoke up. They've been trying. Therapy. Being honest about the favoritism, about using me and treating you as expendable. That doesn't erase what they did, I said. No, but it's a start. I looked at my parents. Really looked at them. They were broken. Not performing. Just broken. You wanted the image more than your kids. Now you don't have either. So what are you going to do? Mom wiped her eyes. Whatever it takes, however long. We just want our children back. You can't have us back the way we were, I said. That's dead. But maybe you can have something new. Grandma spoke. I've changed my will. Everything's split equally between Bruce and Natalie. Nothing goes to David until he's proven he can be trusted. Dad didn't argue, just nodded. And if Bruce says he's leaving, nobody follows him. Nobody argues. And nobody guilt trips him. Anyone who violates that answers to me. Understood, Dad said quietly. I stood up. I'm leaving now. This was enough. Natalie stood too. Can I walk you out? Yeah. We walked to the door, stepped outside. The evening air was warm. Thank you for coming, she said. For Grandma, not for them. I know, but still. Mattered. Are you okay? Getting there. Liam's been good for me. Therapy's helping. I'm figuring out who I am when I'm not performing. Good. Are we okay? I asked. We're getting there. She hugged me. I love you. Even when I hated you, I loved you. Love you too. I walked to my truck, got in, sat there for a minute. My phone buzzed. Text from Dad. Thank you for listening. I know I don't deserve it. I'll spend the rest of my life earning your trust back if that's even possible. I read it, didn't respond, put the phone down, started the engine and drove home. 6 months ago, I nuked my family to save my sister. Today, I sat in a room with the wreckage. The truth didn't fix everything, but it cleared the ground. I pulled into my parking spot, walked up to my apartment. Small, one-bedroom, nothing fancy, but it was mine. Inside, I poured a drink, sat on the couch. My phone buzzed. Natalie, Liam wants to meet you officially. Dinner sometime. Yeah. Name the day. Next Friday, that Thai place in Lincoln Park. Works for me. I set the phone down. Tomorrow, I had a site inspection in Evanston. After that, dinner with Natalie and Liam. 18 months later, I was at Grandma's for her 86th birthday. Small gathering. Natalie and Liam, Holly and her boyfriend, Uncle Rick, Aunt Diane. Natalie was different now. Sharper, more grounded. She'd moved out of Grandma's in June, got her own apartment in Downers Grove, handled her own bills, her own life. You look good, I told her. Feel good. Liam and I are talking about getting engaged. Actual planning this time, not someone else's timeline. That's good. Dad reached out last week, asked if we could meet. What did you say? Maybe eventually. When I'm ready. She looked at me. You same. We weren't fixed, but we weren't broken the same way. Mom and Dad were in a rental in Plainfield. Dad worked at a hardware store. Mom did bookkeeping for a church. They were rebuilding slowly, without the boat, without the lies. Grandma called us to the table. Cake time. As we were singing, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I ignored it. After cake, I checked. Voicemail from Dad. Bruce, just wanted to say your grandmother's birthday. I know we're not invited. That's fair. I just wanted you to know we're thinking about you both, about the family. We're working on it. That's all. Hope you're doing well. I saved it. Didn't delete. Didn't respond. Maybe someday. Not today. I pocketed my phone, walked back inside. Natalie was laughing at something Liam said. Grandma was cutting second slices for anyone who wanted them. This right here. This was enough. I grabbed another slice of cake and sat down. Forward, not backward, just forward. This journey was long and messy, but finding my voice and setting boundaries changed everything. What about you? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family to protect yourself or someone you love? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your experiences.